Hello and welcome to LimeWedgeLoej's Week 14 playoff picture. I know I said last week, I'm going to do Week 13 and show how I did. Let's just say I did badly, and we'll leave it at that. Because, at this point, yeah, there were a lot of upsets last week. Dallas got their first win without Romo, which means Washington lost at home. New England, I have no clue what the Patriots were doing there. The um Cardinals rolled, the Vikings rolled over. The 49ers won. The Packers with a Hail Mary on a very, very, very questionable Facebook face mask call. All completely insane. Anyway, to this week's picks, with just how bad the Vikings played and Arizona's defense, gotta throw that one to Arizona. I'm sorry, Vikings, but you'll probably still make the playoffs, but you it's a good season. We'll leave it at that. The Bills at the Eagles. Now, this is a very interesting matchup. The Bills are very average. The Eagles, if their offense just can't get going, I don't see them having the same defense and special teams performance that upset New England. The Browns, no. No. The 49ers are playing solid. The Browns are still the Browns. Lions are still better than the Rams, even though they lost. Another very interesting matchup, but the Saints being on the road is very crucial. They're 1-5 on the road. Buccaneers take it at home, and the Buccaneers can make things interesting. Don't see the Titans beating the Jets. The Steelers looked really good, and when I say really good, I mean really good. They dismantled the Colts. That's another game I didn't call. So I was completely wrong last week. I'm sorry. But this week, I'm sorry, Steelers. I'm not giving you any love. You're facing the number one seed in the AFC. This is not a primetime game. This is the 1 o'clock game on CBS, which I just realized I could check on here. And the Steelers aren't as good on the road as they are at home. The Jaguars are 3-3 at home, and the Colts are 3-3 on the road. But I trust the Colts more than I do the Jaguars, which isn't saying much at this point in the season. I don't see San Diego doing anything for the rest of the year. The Redskins are 0-5 on the road. Even though the Bears are only 1-5 at home, which the Bears almost want to play games on the road at this season, I think the Redskins are worse on the road than the Bears are at home. Panthers over the Falcons. Falcons 3-3 in both places. Panthers undefeated. Seahawks at Ravens. Even if it's a close game, which I don't think it will be, Seattle's defense will completely destroy Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub? Whatever Schaub. I think his first name's Matt. I don't know. He hasn't played since, the Texans started him and he had that infamous pick six streak. No reason for the Broncos to lose at home against the Raiders. If the Packers lose to the Cowboys, I might just, the next video would just be me making sick goat noises. Not even healthy goat noises, just sick goat noises, because at that point the, NFL will just be completely lost. Patriots at Texans. I'm not going to say the same thing about this game as I did the Green Bay game, but the Patriots should come out playing angry. If they play as bad this week as they played last week, there's going to be some major questions about New England in the long run. The Giants should beat the Dolphins, but at this point, I have no faith in the NFC East. I also have no faith in the Dolphins, so that's a 50-50 right there. I think that I just don't see the Rams winning anymore this season. The Rams have given up. and that's saying something. It's really going to put Fisher on the hot seat. I think he'll have at least one more year just simply because of how good the NFC West is, but that'll be it. The Jets should beat the Cowboys. They really should. The Cowboys shouldn't win another game as hard as their schedule is. This one's another very difficult matchup because common logic would say, oh, the Bears found a way to lose. The Vikings will bounce back. The Bears will be able to stop them. But it's the time of the season where you want to keep your rivals out of the playoffs. And I know I said either last week or the week before John Fox was the head coach of the Broncos. No, John Fox is the head coach of the Bears. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, the Vikings are out yet. You know what? You know what cures the ailing Falcons? The Jaguars. The Jaguars breathed just a slight bit of breath back into the Falcons. Not much, but still some. This could very well be the deciding matchup for the AFC South. I'm going to give the edge to Indianapolis simply because they've been there, done that. They could have Andrew Luck back by that point. Don't trust anyone in the NFC East. I mean, this is the perfect time for the Giants to pull an upset. Will they? Probably not. New England should crush Tennessee. I want to. I want to so bad give this to the Redskins. But when just how abysmally bad they played against the Cowboys, I can't do it. I can't do it. The Giants are going to end up winning by default. They won one game against a bad team, and that'll probably get them in the playoffs. The Chiefs beat the Ravens and keep their hot streak going. The Ravens scrappy as always, but still not enough for the Chiefs. Seattle's just being spoon-fed. Green Bay should secure their spot as the division champions with that win. Broncos, the Steelers just have too hard of a schedule. Pittsburgh is a really good team, but considering how easy a schedule the Jets and the Chiefs have, it's going to be hard for Pittsburgh to make a playoff push. In a game that doesn't matter, I'll give it to the Chargers. This game also is not a primetime game, so no trap game for the Bengals. Bengals win. I don't see this being a trap game either. First ranked offense, fourth ranked defense. Cardinals should light up the Eagles unless they can pull out some more magic like they did against the Patriots. And then this one, which is supposed to be a Monday night game, could be very interesting. But I'm going to give it to the Saints. Saints are at home. Saints play better at the home. The Lions, Raiders, Chargers. We'll give it to the Raiders simply because they're at home. It doesn't matter. The Eagles get a win because the Redskins 0-5 on the road. I'm going to point that out a lot. Patriots bring the Jets back down to earth. Texans should win that one, but it's a little bit too late for the Texans to really pull anything. Chiefs keep going. This is a game that I'm going to pick Miami simply because they can't lose all their games. And the Colts just can't do it. The Colts cannot play so consistently, not this year. New Orleans trying to, remain respectable. I'm going to give it to the Lions. They're at home. Both their seasons are already done as well. The Bills just keep piling it on the Cowboys. And with that loss, the Bills, and that's another reason the Steelers I don't think can do it. Because even now I'm going to go ahead and give the win to the Steelers. They're just one step behind, and I don't see that changing. And this is another game that could go either way. Because this is the revenge game. The Lovey Smith Bears, former Bears, versus the new Bears. This one is possibly the biggest toss-up I've picked so far. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, keep your team from the playoffs. That's right now. The Bears are trying to make the playoffs and they're incomplete. Keep the other teams out of the playoffs mode. The cure for the ailing Vikings is the NFC East, which right now the 6-9 Eagles are holding that spot. Seattle should win that one. In a more or less meaningless game, the Cardinals beat the Packers. We already picked this one. And look, it's prime time. It's time for the Broncos to come out and the Bengals to go back in hiding. In the matchup that will decide the playoff spot, the Jets at the Bills. This is a very Rex Ryan game. The 10-win Bills in the playoffs. Patriots over the Dolphins. Panthers effectively crush the dreams of Tampa Bay. Atlanta won for the morals. Not morals. Just morals anyway. We'll go with morals. Why not? Steelers finish a respectable 9-7 with all their injuries. The Texans also finish a respectable 8-8. Even if, they're not going to lose that game, but even if they did, the Colts would still finish 8-8 and win the division. Chiefs coast. Another game right here, meaningless at this point. Well, more or less. Yep, but it's meaningless. Wait, would a tie? Okay, it still wouldn't matter. Either way, we'll give it to the Cowboys just because they pulled it out last time. This is where the Giants will step up. And it's something to say, a 7-9 team stepping up. The Bears will go in and do their thing. And do I really have the Bears making the playoffs and the Vikings missing it? Sure, why not? That will take a lot. Not a whole lot, but the Bears will have to beat the Vikings. This right here will pretty much determine if the Bears have any shot at the playoffs or not. But I'm going to give it to the Bears for right now. I'm sorry, Vikings fans. All you have to do to pretty much beat the Vikings is stop Adrian Peterson. I know it's easier said than done, but that's all you got to do. Broncos beat the Bolts, and the Broncos take the #1 seed. That's shocking and amazing. At this point, Seattle's too far behind, but we'll give it over to the Cardinals. Not that it would matter either way. At that point, both teams would probably be resting their starters. And then, sure, let's give the 49ers one more victory. And who would have thought that the 49ers, after looking so bad at the very start of the season, will actually finish 6-10? I know, that's strange saying it that way. Anyway, this last wild card spot in the NFC, I think Seattle's pretty much locked that up. The NFC East, which is horrible, those are still up for grabs. The top 3 seeds in the AFC are really up for grabs, so that's another biggie. The 4 seed, if it's going to be the Colts or the Texans, is still up for grabs. I think that the Chiefs pretty much have this locked up. They may not win out like I have them doing, but they'll still do well enough to get into playoffs. The big question, is it going to be the Bills? Is it going to be the Jets? Or the third team that I really think has a really good shot at getting there right now is the Steelers. I don't really think the Texans have a shot at the wild card, but it's down to a 4-team race for the last 2 AFC wild cards. And week 14 will answer a lot of questions, as always. Anyway, on to my playoffs. Playoffs? Yep, playoffs. 6 seed Bills at 3 seed Bengals. This is where the Bengals are known to fall apart and Rex Ryan's team does their thing. Bills go into Cincinnati, get a win. At this point, Dalton is out. Then basically they clean house in Cincinnati. You just can't lose in the playoffs that often. Ask the Chargers. They were really good for so many years ago, but they could never win in the playoffs. The Chiefs at the Colts. The Chiefs win. That leaves Buffalo 6 seed at Denver and Kansas City the 5 seed at New England. If any of these teams can beat any other on a given day, I'm going to give it to Kansas City over New England simply because New England will still be very beaten up, and I think Kansas City is going to be extremely hot. And then the question, will Rex Ryan's defense be able to stop, I assume, Peyton Manning? And will their offense be able to get through Denver's defense? I'm going to say Denver wins it in a close one, and they host Kansas City. And then I still have Kansas City beating Denver and going to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs in the Super Bowl? What? Who would have thought it earlier in the season with how bad they were? Well, Andy Reid is a grade A coach. I don't think there's any debating. He is a really, really, really good coach. So he can turn a team around, get them playing solid football on the same page. Over in NFC, Chicago at Green Bay. By this point, Green Bay is clicking on enough cylinders. They should be able to down the Bears or whoever has to go to Lambeau. The Seahawks. This is the time where the Giants would normally make their run, but normally they don't have to play such a tough opponent in the first round. Seattle goes into New York and wallops the Giants. That leaves number 5 Seattle for a rematch in Carolina, and 3 Green Bay going to Arizona. I still think Carolina and Seattle want to do the same thing, but Carolina does it better. Seattle's defense hasn't been nearly as good as Carolina's, and Carolina plays better at home than they do on the road, even though they play really good in both places. So I'm going to give the edge to Carolina. Green Bay at Arizona. Aaron Rodgers, when he's at his best, is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But Arizona is a more complete team than Green Bay, so the top 2 seeds go to the championship game. And this will be a coin flip. As a Carolina fan, the only team I want to see less than Seattle is Arizona. Even though the New York Giants, the undefeated Busters, even though Green Bay, is always good. I remember Kurt Warner. I remember our division winning Panthers. Everyone, oh, the Panthers are a really good team. Arizona comes in a wild card round and just thwacks us. Was it the wild card or the divisional? Either way, they just whomped the tar out of us. Carolina did not come out to play. And I'm afraid that that's what might happen with this Carolina team. I'm going to, until my Panthers give me a reason not to, which means lose a game pretty much, and they'll have to lose it convincingly. I'm going to pick the Panthers to beat the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals beating the Panthers wouldn't surprise me. I'm going with the Panthers-Chiefs Super Bowl. And I would choose the Panthers to win the Super Bowl. They're undefeated. You can't at this point in the season, I can't pick against an unbeaten team. Somebody is going to have to knock them off their throne for me to pick against them. Just like it was with New England before they lost. And I still don't have New England losing again until the playoffs. That's how good they are. Anyway, those are my picks for this week. I hope you enjoy them. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. If you think I've completely lost my mind for this playoff picture, let me know. Anyway, I am the Great and Mighty LimeWedgeLoej. I thank you for watching, and goodbye.